Okay, we've made a lot of progress since the last video. We installed the coils and all the ignition wiring, put the exhaust system on, mufflers and exhaust pipes, and hung the carburetors and double-checked the snap, the freedom of the slides, and set the initial idle setting. We took the pilot jets out and cleaned those. They were actually clean from the last time, so that's good. And we're getting ready to drop the gas tank on and try a first start. And I'll show you something here that we always do when we're working on bikes, is we always use painter's tape up here to pad the steering head, and we also put a coating on. Say hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
We also put a layer of painter's tape on the front of the gas tank because those two areas tend to collide when you're putting gas tanks on and get chips up in here. So a little bit of protection. We'll put the tank on now and put the gas lines on, and we will be ready for a first start to see if everything we've done so far helps the bike. Let's hope. And that is all. The fun just never stops. Oh, one quick note before we actually do the drop on. We have a rule, always disconnect the battery. We just pull the main fuse. Never put a gas tank on a bike with the electrical system live. True story, before I started specializing only in British, I dropped the tank onto a Honda 750 I'd done some work on, and billows of smoke came rolling out from underneath the gas tank. Something shorted, I never found out which, but I had to go in there and replace a whole bunch of burned wires. And that's when I learned rule number one around here. That's actually rule number two. Rule number two around here is never ever put a gas tank off or on a bike without having completely disabled the electrical system. Rule number one around here, by the way, is never never put a painted part on a workbench. There sits the gas tank on the workbench. I always keep a towel on the workbench, and one time I laid some side covers on the workbench and there was some carb cleaner on the towel and it got into the paint, and that was a hard lesson learned. Now this gas tank is in transition. We laid it there while we got the bike ready, so I don't feel too badly, but really, rule number one in this shop is never put painted parts on the workbench. Too much danger. So we're going to, we've got the fuse out, we've got the gas tank all staged. We're going to do a drop on right now. Well, there's the first start. Started very easily. Actually tried to start while I was just putting it on top dead center. So the setup seems to be pretty good. It's idling right now. Let's double check the oil flow. Okay, got very good oil flow. This is a modified cap that I made so that the engine can be vented into here and then air vented out the back, getting rid of that wide connector. Right now it's idling, a little high, about 1100 RPM. I'll turn that down once the bike gets used to running. Really good. But this is the bike that always sounded good and then ran like poop when we took it for a test ride. So we'll find out when we test ride it whether or not we've still got the same problem. Right now, it's learning how to run. I always say that after rebuilding a bike, They need to learn how to be a bike. They need to learn how to run. So it's idling. I'm going to let it sit there for a while. I'll put the fan on it, let it idle for about 15 minutes, and then we'll do a test ride after a while.